Fabio de Masi.
Ms. Vestager, when I was a small boy, my parents used to read a fairy tale for children to me, which was called Oh, How Beautiful is Panama. Yesterday we saw the very ugly face of Panama. So we saw a Russian godfather of a child prostitution network hiding his money. We saw some terrorists, an oligarch who happens to be the president of the Ukraine, the FIFA, a soccer god like Lionel Messi, and the wife of your esteemed colleague, Mr. Caneta, from the European Commission. However, Panama has been removed from the grey list of the OECD for issues of money laundering. The OECD claims they do data exchange, but since when I was a small boy I also liked telephone hoaxes, I did something I called 3 weeks ago, Mossack Fonseca. Spiegel is reporting on that, and I acted as a businessman and I asked them whether they could help me moving out money from Europe. And they confirmed to me that the government of Panama will never exchange and lay their hand at this kind of information. So against this background, where we also have to see that the current EU Council presidency, the Netherlands, have concluded a double taxation agreement with Panama, I think my conclusion is this hasn't worked. This is what we saw, the ugly face of Panama. Against this background, I would like to ask you, since you appreciate the work we do here, whether you would be happy to see a continuation of our work. And I appreciate my time with Alain Lamassoure so much that I really want to continue this work. Would you be in favor of having tax-free or permanent subcommittees? Secondly, will you discuss with your colleague, Ms. Caneta, I mean, he's not responsible for what his wife is doing in every instance, but will you discuss this affair with him? Thirdly, would you see some more tough measures required, such as we have demanded in the Tax 1 report, sanctioning banks, removing their license when they aid this taxation business, or even enacting source taxation and cancelling double taxation agreements? And lastly, you said that country-by-country reporting will not be done for the part of non-EU tax havens. The Commission cites competitive reasons for that, but Australia did exactly the opposite. They included these kind of business units from non-EU tax havens, so I would like to explain the difference between Australia and the European Union. And lastly, do you see your Commission, your department, with this complex methods of state aid law, sufficiently resourced and staffed to really apply equal law everywhere, as we know that the United States is already complaining that you would target selectively companies, and one representative of your department told us that in fact you would not have the personal resources to target all cases. Thank you very much.
Too many questions. They are good, of course.
They are all good.
Yes, but then I will leave one question for you and your president as to how to organize your work moving forward. But I will hope
we will agree on that, I have no doubt.
But I will hope that you will continue working on this, because I think so many instances in the recent past, but also in these days, that it is no surprise that Panama is Panama. On 8 member states' blacklist, you find Panama. But maybe, at least to my surprise, the volume, that it is so gigantic a question, and therefore there is a lot of work to do, not only for legislators, but maybe also for interrogators in the future to look into what are we really dealing with. And maybe, of course, as well for businesses to see themselves, what are we really dealing with? Is this a company we want to join? Of the people that you just mentioned, and maybe the risk that we take when minimizing our taxation is the risk that becomes too big in terms of what will happen to our branding value if this comes out in the open, which is a very good reason to work for transparency, for people to see what is going on. And I did not say anything about how our proposal will be when we are putting it on the table in the very near future. I just said that it is still important that we respect where do we have our jurisdiction, and then to make sure that we take it as far as possible. And I will be happy, of course, mostly my colleague who are concretely responsible, to take that discussion when we have put the proposal on the table, because, again, I think we share the perspective.
The answer is no. I prefer answer myself.